Sanje, Chodan Zogi, Chonala, Jancho Bado, Dani Jasuchi, Dadi Chujin, Sonamji, Chola Banja, Sanje, Jopa, Sanje, Chodan Zogi, Chonala, Jancho Bado, Dani Jasuchi, Dadi Chujin, Sonamji, Chola Banja, Sanje, Jopa, Sanje, Chodan Zogi, Chonala, Jancho Bado, Dani Jasuchi, Dadi Chujin, Chola Banja, Sanje, Jopa, Dayata, Gade Gade Paragade, Parasangate Bodhi Swaha, Dayata, Gade Gade Paragade, Parasangate Bodhi Swaha, Dayata, Gade Gade Paragade, Parasangate Bodhi Swaha. 심지어 담주에서 토자라나 마지막 산지에 고마는 뭐지 진행을 토가죠. 이시도 엠베 장주스 벨라베라 수치도 나올란디 나와래 신고를 뜨고 토가야 퇴지슈만 하고 가지고 가서 먹을 때 똑같거든. 라벨집에 사진을 제가 제시치는 얘기는 sababcha.
So we set our motivation as we normally do to attain, do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment by perfecting all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. Knowing that to perfect those trainings I need to have a thorough understanding of them based on a non-mistaken presentation. With this in mind, I'm here this morning about to listen to a brief explanation on the outlines of the great treatise of the Path to Enlightenment as composed by the great Lam Rim Outline. So Sondru gi parchin digan ani gyatang ship ge so lelo something
tela sumlesa ta chishi le lu ko la sumsa le toba yutu chiba shiwe wodo za ngetro towa la yang sa de sa bo de ni ba ka wa sum ko be sa long yutu chibe le lu long yutu chibe le lu ka ne long me que le ke ba o sa ta o je ta chele chibu se de wada nyom le pa be ja ja ta di tu tu me ba long yutu
So we were examining the perfection of enthusiastic perseverance, joyous perseverance, and under two subheadings. One, looking at the recognizing the incompatible conditions that can cause interference to the generation of joyous perseverance. And then the second part of this is the means or the way of how we actually overcome those incompatible conditions. So with regard to that, looking at the different kinds of laziness that act as obstacles to the generation of joyous perseverance. The first of these we looked briefly at was the laziness of procrastination, constantly putting practice off and off and off again to later and later. And the means of counteracting that are the contemplations on how fragile this life is and how quickly it will disintegrate, and that after death the possibility of falling to the lower realms, And thirdly, the contemplation on how difficult it is to find this basis of an excellent life again, and reflecting on these three. Said to dispel the notion of us, our holding on to the notion that there is still plenty of time, and in place of that, instilling the thought that there is really no time to spare. So it's all very well to gain an understanding of on the one hand, of course, the great benefit of joyous perseverance, and on the other hand, a knowledge of the obstacles to the generation of joyous perseverance, being these different classifications of laziness, be it this one, the laziness of procrastination, or the laziness of being attached to ignoble or negative activities, or the laziness of self-contempt or self-discouragement. And that we can all very quickly understand that, yes, that's the way it is, but if it remains just as a thought, as a concept in our minds, without it coming down to the mind itself, to really transforming our mind, then it's not going to really be very effective. So what we need to do is to gain really positive, definite conviction that what is being presented is true, and that we need to overcome these certain these different categories of laziness in order for our joyous perseverance to shine through. And so it requires more than just a reflection on it, but a constant reflection on it, and so that we can really make it integrated into our actions, that it transforms into action itself. And so very, very important that we do that, so that we end up thinking that there really is no time to waste, that I have this basis of a precious human rebirth with its leisures and endowments, which is something of great significance. I can use this basis to achieve something of great significance. And so each year, each month, each week, each day, each hour, each minute is precious, and I don't want to waste any time, but to take the essence out of every moment I have in order to fulfill the full potential of this great basis.
이 간지 토네 안에 저 가서다 지금 배나 지금 가서도 좀 맞도겠다 류게고 차트에다 수 류게고 차트에 될 때는 좀 맞도가 차이고 다가네 이제 나자다 근데 온게 좀 맞도가 차이 아니 좋아 그만이 내가 약간 나서가지 제요 봐 나서 되는 대고 있는 산이 되고 있는 대소매 다들 되고 있는 추적까지 제를 가지고 한 먹어야 된다 얘가每个修都啊얘가每个修都啊但근데 인사 그 저기 뉴도 집어 삼았다는 단다 요한테 배주야 못해是吧 但근데当嘛都吧이나 단다 된저 루자 짜지 뭐修这些 단다 소소 지당을 다들 야랑하네 관다 많이 그 봐도 오늘 전에看나로 관에 삼았다 최근에 최수 총한테 가르 정도 야구상 공부래 망제 따나래 최 제발 최 제거도 삼사지라 딱시 제발이나 충분히 많이 게 찾죠 최도 다마시 맞지 좋아다 근데 겨워치만 편절라 알리 미루스 타발래 수준 남바다 시송 주고 안데 스텐제 같이 수준 야구 수송 같이 또 답변은 거서 지금 너무 그 초지는 거서 근전 누가 쳐보다 지금 에너지 효율도 와 여왕도 대자고 에너지 민도 와 또 수적도 민도 와다 됐다 반자 야구 삼았다는 다 뒤주 망치하는 뒤주 미지 지금 뒤주 패치하는 무슨 이 구구요래 안에 되네 안에 거야 지금 미지 뒤 제거에 막 보시려고 다 최근에 제스도 공부절에도 와 공부절에도 와라 공부절에도 왔다 네가 저도 다 된대 지금 집어이나 그게 녀석 이게 다 쳐서 저래도 와 저 녀석 다 녀석 이게 차와이나 다 라야 대상 뭐 되는 거 근데 좀 두래 그래서 대상 뭐 되는 거 되게는 아니 지금 대상 뭐 치마 표정 대상 뭐 이제 좀 하도 와이나 녀석 이게 사는 대상 뭐 이거 근데 좀 두래 그 가보러 와 뭐다 되게 초망분에 삼았다네 아니 지금 오늘 전에 지금 가서다 준준 말게로 탑되겠지 레로간 롱메도 귤에 개와 뭐지
So, in terms of really understanding how important this precious birth, precious human rebirth that we have, this basis of potential that we have, that we need to understand that we need to use what we have, not just to have an understanding of it and leave it at that, but to use that to fulfill the full potential of this life. So this means that to really understand how to use body, speech and mind to their full capacity. So this is the reasonings within overcoming this laziness of procrastination. Speak of how quickly this body that we have attained will disintegrate and will pass. So it's not just a question of the fact that we will die quickly, but also that our capacity to engage in quality Dharma practice will be compromised as we age, as the body deteriorates, as the mind deteriorates, and so on. So it's now is the time, because we will fall into the situation where we won't be able to direct our minds or our bodies. We will have to deal with the disease and the degeneration and so on. So many obstacles to our engaging in genuine Dharma practice, that we must do what we can now when we have the potential, when we have the capacity. And this means really to be honest with ourselves, to really examine the full day's activities from the moment we get up in the morning till the time we go to bed at night, to recall, go through the day and to really ask the hard question: how much of my time was directed towards proper spiritual practice? How much time really was my attitude in the Dharma? We will have to conclude generally that this was very rare. It was a very small amount of time. And so even the time that we thought we were doing Dharma, when we examine it, it turns out to be a non-Dharma activity because we were so distracted. So we have to see how difficult it is to generate the sort of joyous perseverance that is being called for here, versus how easy it is for us to accommodate mental affliction when it arises in the mind. And so we have to see the difference between there and to see where my attitude really is, and to make sure that most of the time I'm either sleeping or engaged in the activities of this life, distracted and far away from any spiritual thinking. So any time I have even to direct my attention towards spiritual matters is actually very, very rare. So this kind of points to the fact too in the reasonings to overcome this laziness of procrastination. It says too, that if that's the case, if it remains like that, then after death there is a real possibility of you ending up in the lower realms. And so however difficult it was to attain this precious basis now as a human being, just imagine how impossible almost it's going to be if you end up in the lower realms next time round, how difficult it is to gain the positive basis of a precious human rebirth again in the future. So it's kind of this kind of like a tale of warning, that don't waste the opportunity you have now and fall into a disastrous result in the next rebirth. And thirdly, the reasoning of, look, you have to overcome this holding on to the notion that there is still plenty of time, and that you have to generate the idea that there is really no time to spare. And so you really have to kind of say, really, there's no other way but to actually generate this joyous perseverance, to really enter into the fulfilling of the opportunity for fulfilling the potential that I have, and to take the full advantage of this opportunity by generating joyous perseverance in pursuit of virtue.
아니 대조가 밀리려 봐쇼 아니 대화시 베게외 신이의 잡아쇼 아니 산제 람가 림기 되는 산제 고반유도 무슨 몰람 잡대 그 요때 얘네 다들 대조가 루데 니에다마데 배주 야고 마다 봐이나 그 몰람 잡쳐 봐라 그 누가 개요 말이 그 몰람데 유조 말이 몰람데 컨디션 속 가서다 계속적인 말도 다 유조의 매서 다 유조 요소나 왔다 제가 대조가 루데 마도 봐쇼라네 대조가 루데 타보해지 유조 아니 배추림 소에 지바타에 준비 좀에 서버 거에 다 삼대의 시라로 서버 냠는 그 제와이나 대조고리 때 먹었으네 용대지 대조고리 때 마도 와쇼 겨와치마 산제가 때마다 맞지 와쇼라네 그 제가 중문에도 좀 사와 인상 그 라쇼 용대 중으로 와 좋다 대상 와서 저 청문회도 만나와 두에도 계신부터 아니 대가들 아니 뭐라도 좀 와도 있잖아 그 누가 제 청구로 와다
And so yes, we have some little faith in the Dharma that is very, very good. It's very, very good basis to have, and that we can use this faith to instill to inform the prayers that we have to may I have a precious human rebirth in the next life, may I meet with the Mahayana Dharma, with a qualified spiritual teacher, may I be able to proceed along the paths and grounds to enlightenment, etc., etc. But we must back up these kinds of prayers with action, with the actual Dharma practice. And so it's very little use to us if we just have prayers like this but don't engage in spiritual practice, that we will not be able to achieve that which we are praying for, because prayer itself is not the main cause of that kind of result. It is only a cooperative condition. So that is the main cause is the actual spiritual practice, the virtue that we create. And so this must not be mistaken. We must be very, very clear on this. And that in emphasizing this point, we can say also that if we engage in true spiritual practice of accumulating the causal virtues, then even if we pray for the opposite, may I not attain a precious human rebirth in the next life, it nevertheless will happen, because we have actually created the causes. So even if we pray for the opposite, it won't happen for us. So to understand that things proceed according to cause and effect, and this is how we guarantee that we will fulfill the aspirations that we pray for. And so therefore, and of course, that when we engage in our spiritual practice, that we're engaging in the spiritual practice of abiding good ethical conduct, of practicing the perfection of generosity, patience, etc., etc., and that to engage in genuine spiritual practice along those lines will naturally create the causes and naturally produce the causes that are in harmony with the results that are in harmony with those causes. And so we have to see that to both recognize what is actual Dharma practice and then to practice it in a non-mistaken way.
本来我说去主要做当是什么当呢？本来端到的这新个也不去了，那这个可是上面背大不也不是大这一那个他做一那可以那上面背大不是这，那第二个也给去到绿的追的这个我错不去，也不是这，那新个收入的呢，新个的马给把小老外呢，可没啷个得个嘛的，可给我的哇，可就给要是做不成了，但看上面背大不马到上面马到，那可这个春节过夜这个大嘛就话这新个收入的背大不给我小时呢给个嘛的哇。我当做当这个几家的，就讲做当的这个几家的吧，其他那个就讲做当这个几家的。
So even if we look at an external example of this, look at the farmer who has good quality seed, who plants that seed, who provides good ground, fertile ground, who waters those plants, fertilizes those plants, and so on. And then when the farmer
timing also right timing
and the right timing for planting and so on, with all those conditions in place, that the farmer may pray to have a good crop, and certainly his prayers then will be backed up by the actions that he has taken, the causes that he has created. So he will, even if he were to pray in those situations, may I not have any crop, nevertheless a good crop would arise because he's provided all the necessary causes and conditions for that to happen. On the other hand, for a lazy farmer who doesn't provide decent seed or soil or fertilizer or anything else, or plants at the wrong time, and yet prays fervently for a good crop, will of course not gain a good crop because he hasn't created the necessary causes and conditions for that. So whether it's an internal matter of cause and effect or an external matter of cause and effect, the process is the same. And so this is more a kind of a scientific outlook as well, the way things actually are.
Today is a Chimarazan that their job will be then Nibati, and to go Tata, their job will be Nibati, and Gochova chair, Tata Pejuta, the Ketchum in Buta, the Ketchum Shucha will say that market that the loving the Lama to go Sugu Akasa was it that the Nyanson like Kene, that Nyanson like Kiatani, and their job will be done Tobiatan, and then Naranzo Tata de Casoda. 다들 대적을 누대니 봐네 아니 산제 고바 두베잖아 녀손께는 대적을 누대니 에 카요르스 이러와 다 다다 말아서 산제 고바서도 내가버지 처럼도 가서 가서 녀모 시작하듯이 녀모를 고바 숙셔 보여봤지 안다 디데인도 내가버 처럼도 왔다 딜레 녀손께는 대적을 누대니 딜레 카가 차디고요 다들 그 중세 삼로다는 그래도다
And so it's so important then to refocus on the precious human rebirth that we have, to be able to take the essence of that basis to make the most meaning out of that. It's so important for us because, as I say too in the graduated path teachings, that it is more difficult to go from a lower rebirth to a precious human rebirth than it is to go from a precious human rebirth to the state of enlightenment. And so if we kind of see how that is, because of course you can say, we all know that how difficult it is to progress from a precious human rebirth up along the path to enlightenment because of the prevalence of our mental afflictions and our degenerated attitudes and so on. But is saying that nevertheless, it is more difficult to attain a precious human rebirth from the starting point of a lower rebirth than it is to go from here as a precious human rebirth to the state of enlightenment.
다 니바 자와 자와 녜실라 차바 가바니서 자와 녜실라 차바 가바니 담배 취내서 대체 가와 타예바 주에 주의 받다 되면에 자주 모았다 아니 그거 소제 남예 남네 대 되는지 뭐 냠바지 제 냠도 가봐 오자.
And so the second of the lazinesses is attachment to ignoble activities. And the reasoning to counteract that laziness is to understand that on the one hand we know that the precious Dharma is the cause for every possible joy that we could experience. But if we are distracted by the likes of idle chatter and other worldly amusements, then that is really degenerating the great purpose of our of the Dharma itself, the great meaning behind our practice of the Dharma. So it's something that really degenerates the preciousness and the purity of the Dharma.
냠내 제바이나 다 최되게 아니 세til에 기바 치마 편제다 땡기 도마 줍저가 되는 누가 용이지 다 디메바지는 다 지금 되메베 짜줘다 지금 가서다 계제 초베게 되자 라신이가 고고 당지나 다 가자 지금 나와 향제나 다 지금 우리가 세티 아니 되는 잡아 되는 아니 차가체네 디지도 아니 랑게 옹비시아바되게 됐다 가자도 야연도 땅 로다 수다티 로스레자라 차바데 야 공배도 땅. 이 공배도 땅도 에는 셈두답지 제도 말고. 셈두답지 제마도 와이나 아니 지금 체 딜레이 기바 용거 말이. 기바도 툭툭 말이. 아니 치마 편제데 땡기 디기 두면은 바지 좀 붙여 것도 와. 저다 간제 지금 가서데 땡기 디기 좀 마종스의 셈두 마둘라 라레도 와. 셈두 마둘라 라레한테 아니 셈두발라 객제 것도 와. 셈티발이 객제한테 아니 땡기 디지 주면은 객제 뭐. 다디 맞아 다디 가서라 랑이 되는지 뭐 랑이 되는지 뭐 땡기 디지들 디 냐바치가 들어서는 아니 냐바치가 들어서는 아니 디 샤완도 마다 왔지.
The conscientious practice of the Dharma is that which can produce joy and happiness in this and the future lives. It is the basis, the cause that brings about that joy and that happiness. But if we are engaged in pointless chatter and activities that are both deceptive for oneself and others, this will only increase, or indeed anything that increases the importance we place on the senses and the objects of the senses, that automatically compromises our ability to subdue and control the mind. And so when we see that, then, because progress in the Dharma is dependent upon the ability to control and to pacify the mind. So we can see that if we are engaged in activities that compromise that ability to control and pacify, and that we are not really engaging in progress in the Dharma, we're not progressing in the Dharma. And so it's very important for us then to kind of make sure that what activities that we are engaging in with others do not fall into this category of something that degenerates the purity of the Dharma and the ability for us to progress in the Dharma. and not to fall under that kind of influence in our practice, in our daily lives.
타메웨게 에너지게 나라족의 난데 디기라서 봐 나라족의 다 개체부지 망체 되게 되니까 가서다 나라서 타메와라 난데게 그가 추바전에 차대요. 다디 시우들의 샤전 그래서 딜을 해 가지고도 통고요 말와 다 배는 자전거도 코아나를 찾아봐이네 배는 것도 되게 미 디기서를 디기디 다 나라족의 시우 개체부지 거를 말아서 미 패치하고 미지가 누가 찾아 디가나 게임 두고였다. 이내 되베 하이 디기다 하이 디기 뭐죠? 랑게 매바 인사 나라도 시부지 다 되베 하이 디기 샤는 나라도 디기도 다 동해 차대요. 다 되베 하이 디기 데 개체부 쓰게 되게 되죠. 다 되게 되베 그것도 다 코에게 순간별 하이 디기도 뭐죠? 랑게 매바 인사 나라도 나에 딱 가서 체 리미테이션 소리 체제점도 매번 인자 카메라 공시에 공비시발은 나한테 체면도 매번 인자 야 하이 되별 하이 디기스나는 뭐지 거다 순간별 하이 디기는도 다다 되게 가서 돼 다다 되별 하이 디기도 다 차대요 다 되별 순간별 하이 나래 다 삼대 당본이바 수바 시베 바라라 양코라서 코라 다 같이 대화 되게 대화 지요데 이내야 디 고마게 제도 이게 통대 좀 봐. 나베나 삼대 시발라 삼대 시베게 에네 대화 토한테 좋아 단용스게 좋아 단용스 와다비 대화 삼대 당분이 바지 대화다 삼대 시발레도 좋아 단용사 디야 와다 저기 베나 수메칸다든 데네 타바톱 되게 때가 있나다 라빠 차네 뒤에 동해가 하시 통제 경기 차 통제 정도 가서 나라도 통해야 돼 가서 탐해외고 같이 통구이와 대상면도 요말 봐 아니 이마인자 다 나라도 그 대화대 땡큐와 차고 요말했어
So to understand, in terms of this being attracted to ignoble activities, that we are, as beginners, with a kind of an ordinary perception, very limited in regard to interpreting what appears to us, especially what appears to us to be attractive and good and beautiful. And that we are in many ways mostly mistaken with regard to the kind of labels that we put on these kinds of things, and that what we regard as the most important, or most beautiful, most excellent, of highest quality, and so on, is not really so. It's only so based on our extremely limited appearance, and that. From the point of view of a desire realm celestial being who have such greater capacity to perceive beauty and excellence, that the best of what we regard is seen as extremely ordinary from their point of view, and that it has really no attraction whatsoever. And this actually continues on as one proceeds to higher levels of perception and meditation and so on the path, so that when we move from the desire realm celestial being perception and into the form realm concentrations, they are even on the first concentration within the form realm, they are now looking at the best of what a desire realm celestial being asserts, and considering that to be completely unattractive and of no attraction, no significance at all. And so and this continues on through the different concentrations, like to the fourth concentration of equanimity or impartiality, and that they're looking now at even what was regarded as excellent in the first concentration and no longer seeing any importance in that, seeing it as no attraction whatsoever. So it's this process of really of clearing away, I guess, the kind of limited perceptions to reveal that what was considered to be really excellent, beautiful, etc., isn't really so. Because even on the attainment of liberation from cyclic existence altogether, one understands that all of what is presented and on offer in cyclic existence is actually in the nature of suffering. So it's this understanding from our point of view then, as ordinary human beings, to see that what we consider to be so attractive and so wonderful isn't really the case at all. That we are very, very limited and ordinary in relation to what we consider to be important, and that actually everything that we consider to be important is in the nature of suffering. So, from our point of view, we, due to our karmic obscurations, don't see the world of even a desire realm celestial being. But if we were to see, we would probably interpret that as some sort of enlightenment. It would be so fantastic and amazing to us. Such is our limited perception. So it's so important then to put our own kind of perceptions into perspective, to try and get some idea of what the actuality is. And this means that to really avoid being deceived by the happinesses of this life, and to understand that these are only kind of very basic level, very limited level of happiness. And that also to be realistic and understand, yes, I am in the desire realm. Therefore, desire plays a part, and that desire gets us what we need to live. But it's extremely important that we see the exact context in which we should use these objects of our desire. That they are not to become we're not to become a slave to them by being attached to them, but to see that if we are, that it is going to be a major obstacle to our experiencing higher and more stable levels of happiness later on. And therefore, our objective is to use these objects of desire here that are necessary for us, but in the service of our spiritual practice. So that means that we are not deceived by these objects of desire, but we are using them in the service of our spiritual practice. And there's no fault in that at all. That's fine. But if we are become overly, if we are deceived by them, in other words, by being attached to the objects of desire here, the thing is, not only will we forfeit the happiness that we would have experienced in the future, or through the attainment of liberation or the omniscient state of enlightenment, never mind that, but we will also create misery for ourselves here and now in this life. And so you can see this is very, very obvious that the conflict that arises between neighbors, in communities, even in international conflicts, in wars, is based on gaining some objects of desire. We can see this very obviously, isn't it? It's about stuff. So not to fall under the control of these objects, but if we have, then good, use them in the service of the Dharma. So that the proper use then of these objects of desire, of course, is first and foremost in, say, acts of generosity. And so that one needs objects to be able to give in order to practice the perfection of generosity. And those fellow residents of the desire realm are necessary to give too. And so it's kind of important for us to be able to use objects of desire in this way to accumulate positive merit. Of course, we also need objects of desire in the form of food and drink and being able to sleep, place to stay, and so on. All of these things, yes, we see the necessity. So it's not a question of giving up completely on everything. It's a question of knowing what we need to live a good life and to have control over that. Control in our own mind, not to fall into attachment towards these things, not to be considering them to be more or so important. But actually to have them is good, because then but knowing how to use them is the most important. And so we see the opposite of this in the world on a common basis, the way things are, that the way people put in so much effort in work, really work themselves to the bone in order to accumulate money. But then they become a slave to that process, that there's never an end to what they want with that money. So therefore they have to keep working in that way. And so they make a servant of themselves, a slave of themselves to what they get with the desires that they want to fulfill with that money. And so it's very, very important to recognize, yes, that this is a great danger and to avoid it. And so if we fall under that kind of control, we lose our own freedom. And so that's not something that is something caused by an external force outside, but rather it's our own thinking, not understanding how to direct our own thinking.
가봐 오스다 지금 남연기 딱 가자 지금 가서도 남연기 딱 가자 지금 남연기 자와 그대지만 다 돼도 민묘리지 민묘 나요 근데 그가 민묘 남 뒤에서 거요 말고 딱 지금 체들의 착신 그 보면 저야 건가 딱 소소 제고 제 소소 맞제와는 된치부 주면 누구 요번 인자 그 딱딱 단지 제도 고도 단지에서 답을 잡도 같이 당다 소속에 가서도 삼로도 당다 컨트롤 제도가 고도 와 삼로 당다 컨트롤 제마도 있나 아니 가자서는 아주 소소 미즈리 요보소를 찾고도 요보소를 찾고도 아직 자다가 된치부 냠바치고 교도스다 되게 주변에 냠바치고 됐다 된선 도뒤네 잡아다 시시 잡아서 거도 검자 되면 되게 말아 잡아 시시서 그 뒤에 요고도 그 뒤에 요고도
So as it says there, that when we are distracted, that it causes this degeneration of the great purpose for which we practice the Dharma. And so when it says here, distraction, it's not necessarily, not just in kind of in the particular, but in the general sense also of considering the things of this life as being so important. That when we are placing our attention in that way, and our attitude is dominated by that perception, then the great purpose of the Dharma is certainly degenerated. And so we have to recognize here that we have to, in a way, protect our attitude, protect our thinking, to kind of maintain it within the sphere of spiritual activity, of really considering that which we have committed to, the Dharma, as being important enough to be part of my attitude and my thinking at all times. And in this regard, mindfulness and alertness are indispensable. So mindfulness and alertness not just are used for the purpose of generating mental quiescence in meditation and so on, but are tools of mind that are to be used at all times for us, to be mindful and to be alert at all times.
얘네 칸에 세디 개점뭐 말이야 샘딩 데라 소도 제가 세디 개점뭐 저 대편 도움도 와 그래서 칸에 세디 개점뭐 뭔가 그거 세디 거라 봐 칸에 세디 개점뭐 말이야 아니 제 코라 데 아니 주진이 시 잡지 제 세디 개점뭐 갈 제샤다 그 라마도 무슨 정도 와
So then to move that from this kind of like okay, we can recognize in words that yes, this to be attracted or to be attached to the things of this life is a mistake and is something that we shouldn't place so much importance on. Yet in our actions, we 24/7 seem to contradict that. We actually do chase after the stuff of this life by considering it to be so important all the time. So it's kind of like making sure that yes, we what we agree to, what we pay lip service to, is not just lip service, but actually is backed up by our subsequent actions.
칸에 시아바디기 그게 편도고 말이야. 다 간제 액션 되게 소소 문에잖아 라네 가와디게 때때 좋아지 무스테기 와.
So really, to understand, yes, that we have to make sure that what we are agreeing to isn't just left as mere words, but is transformed into the actions. That integration of what we understand into the actual actions of our lives is what brings about transformation of mind.
다 수바 길루바 다니엘 니베 카바네서 다니엘 니베 카바네서 당게 제도 말에 두고 말했어요. 다 대과 첨부 될라 다들 좀 다 대과 첨부 남네도 대과 첨부 람데다 가서로 주투에 요 말이 미니소 냠도 슈나 슈나 당게 주투 사마 아니 다 사마다나 드레스다 거래야 소마스 제 사마 차고서 될라 숨자 아니 톱자라 길루바 카바 대토베 탑라 슈바 카바 강도 내내 주변 내려 슈마가 뭐 어째 sabje 수고는 가야죠.
The third category of laziness that can cause obstacles to the development of joyous perseverance is known as self-contempt or discouragement. The mind attitude that says, oh, I can't. So here it's saying that what is being proposed in the kind of Mahayana teachings, to say that when I reflect on it, to say, oh, I can't possibly attain what they're talking about there. So it's eradicating this kind of discouragement. And with regard to that, there's three subheadings or subsections to that. First of all, it's putting a stop to discouragement with regard to the goal. Secondly, it's the putting stop to discouragement with regard to the means of attaining that goal. And thirdly, it's putting a stop to any kind of discouragement or self-contempt with regard to wherever we are being a place where it's possible to practice. So with regard to the first of these, putting a stop to discouragement with regard to the goal, and here it references the Bodhisattva's way of life in that verse where it describes that even a fly, because they have Buddha potential, have the capacity, the potential to attain the state of enlightenment, it is said. Therefore, the reasoning goes, if I am born as a human being with the positive basis of the leisures and endowments, and I may have the capacity to be able to really analyze what to do, what not to do, what to practice, what to leave behind, to have the intelligence to discriminate with regard to what is the best course of action. Therefore, why wouldn't I be able to attain the state of enlightenment? What's stopping me from attaining the state of enlightenment? And so this way we try to lift the attitude of mind, to say that you shouldn't be discouraged about the object. You have everything on your side, all the capacity to be able to attain that. And so this, quite apart from the context here, where we're discussing it in terms of Dharma matters and overcoming obstacles to joyous perseverance, but in life in general, we can see that this sense of this self-contempt or discouragement is a very common problem for people, particularly those who generate various categories of depression and so on, which centers around the idea of I can't, I just can't for me, and so on. Well, this is not being able to access the good qualities that they have, the kind of qualities that can lift them out of that depression and that discouragement.
可是呢，这个告诉的，这个社会刚刚提这个盲目这个，俺们说个老有牛把的心对马都把讲的，老有牛把心对马都把现在，俺们说刚刚这把刚刚有把这个，俺们心给难讲的，俺们他我说他们话现在，俺们上面牛把修成我有马了哇，俺们梦，他梦讲的，俺们我有个那就马东话讲的，俺们告诉了他这个苏塞街他。 아니 저기 청아라 망고 통해야 니다 통해도 망고 좋은 데도刚刚讲的但所以刚刚的社会有没给讲了哇也讲有用的多但是是心对让个原来个差这个差不多大家心对的感觉这个呀这个让来把它差点叫的刚刚有些都对的说有点痛苦一些对吧不能我做的话不能我做的话 리가 저 소소 강에 치앙도 어떤 내 강에 쉬었다 다 소소 강에 치슈 통제 많이 왔던 데도 거죠. pero 딜레 강에 치아 pero 다 아프리카 나라에 미들 이스트 나라에 다 doctor 뭐 강에 니리 맨다 그 담도 거에 매 봐자 자스 뭐 쉬었다 다 뒤도 사모다도 나라조 강에 대 충족을 쳐도 와. 거기 또서 도저번에 샤고도 와.
So we can see that when ordinary people meet with problems, that they often can't really access the potential of their own mind to lift them out of that situation. But because of their being ordinary beings and being confounded by confusion, not being able to see the reality of the situation, not being able to understand the actual good qualities that they have, they slide into a kind of a depression of I can't do this. And so it's very important to be able to lift oneself out of that sort of mindset. And in one way, it's often good to compare your situation, no matter how bad you think it is. You think, oh, my problem is the worst in the world. Nobody suffers like I do. But if you actually compare with other human beings, even in places like Africa and the Middle East and so on, and to understand what kind of obstacles those people have to contend with, where there are, to avoid getting killed or shot, weapons and so on, in their daily lives. One can see that one is in a much better situation, so there's no need to be this depressed and so on.
내가 비디골 때 그거를 디와딜레 망부 용데 디와딜레 망부 용데도 에 코나조 강에 마트시 자데 다 코나조 뭐 진짜 삼보당당 마시베 지금 소소소 강에 치부지 소연 되되도 와. 다 야보 삼보당 대장 강에 치부지 뭐도 와. 뭐지기다. 가서 개 대장 강에 치부지 뭐도 돼. 이나 소소 삼보당당 게 토네. 아니 소소 강에 강에 치슈 있어. 다 아니 마지 버전 되되고 용도 와. 또 와. 다 이제 뭐서 because 강에 차도 자차서는 삼보당도 아니 그 뛰어서 좀 소소 강에 치야 매트겠지. 용되기도 와.
So I can remember a situation in Bendigo when there was a group with a lot of question and answer interviews, where people would come with their own problems, and really to try to explain to them that that the way to avoid problem is through your own thinking, because the mindset that increases the problem that you have is due to your own thinking. And so you need to be able to understand that you have made the problem that you had much bigger by the way you've actually contemplated or reflected on it. And so you need to be able to understand things like I have explained in the bigger context, to compare your situation with those who are much worse off. And then you will see that you didn't have a problem at all to begin with.
그 강가 때에 직접 뛰는 샤고로 와. 배는 강에 체중에서 강에 충화질할 때는 치아샤고. 치아질할 때는 충화샤고로 와. 그 뛰는 샤. 아니 소소 강에 대야 강에 들에 치아질을 봐 샤고도 소소 강에 치아면 되게 차고도 와.
So it's really a question of the category of problem and to the size of the problem. And when one compares with another, one can see that one problem is greater than the other, one problem is less than the other. So to find others that have more difficulties, more problems than you, reduces the impact of the problem that you thought you had in the first place. So having this kind of big picture, big context thinking is a way of really reducing and eradicating many of the difficulties that we encounter in life. So also, like in terms of this particular laziness of discouragement, of being kind of downhearted so easily, that for each of us to, when that occurs, to consider what we can do, what we are capable of doing, and to bring that to the front and foremost. That is a way of re-encouraging ourselves and re-inspiring ourselves.
다디 마제바이나 탑매되게 저러다 소소 디기 고고 요래 아니 디기 고도 다 녀모를 갑대 맞잖아 탑매되게 이내에다 녀모를 갑대 짜서 녀모서도 출원이 영화게 막 출원이 영근이야 또 짜서 뭐 그래 다 녀모 소소 균에 깨고 요바 인자 아니 소소 균을 소소로 언제 열어와 언제 열어 다 이제 라렌 제마체 콘네 줄로 가와 라렌 제마이나 소소로 언제 열어 그 주마도에 내주 지들 레모 레데요 만다 뭐 이제 좀 다 출원지라 미치라 직지 제로지 부구쇼가 뚝뚝마도 나서와 미셔바지라 자와자고이나 이제 최종서 소수지에와 소수지에도 맞제는 다가르면 제바이나 언제 열어봐 언제 열어봐
Also, it's the case of like really getting down to kind of brass tacks to say that I want to establish permanent happiness. In order to do that, I need to oppose the mental afflictions, and there is no other alternative to that process. I need to counteract the mental afflictions, and so when we have problems, we can say, okay, that yes, there are external circumstances that can cause disturbance, but whether I am disturbed or not is my responsibility. It's my mind stream, and I have control over my mind stream. And so it is therefore understanding that whether I can control my own mind stream or not is the real issue. Is the real issue of whether or not I am going to be upset by upsetting conditions. And so it is this kind of like bottom line really of understanding that I am in control. It's whether I apply that control or not is the issue, not external circumstances.
갑자기 잡아이나 당고 공부 배우면 또 가부 요래 얘네 공부지 좋아이나 콜레라다라도 줘야지 가서 너무 숙종도 줘도 랑킵도 줘고 와 킵도 줘도 소소 기본 용사들 거기에 진이 되고 와 기본 요바데 내가데 진이 되고 와
So it's very, very important then that we it's kind of like down to each and every one of us to engage in this process of opposing the mental afflictions. And even though that is quite difficult at the beginning, as they say, there is nothing that does not become easier with habituation. So we need to be persistent and consistent in applying the remedies or the antidotes to the mental afflictions, and to become really habituated to that. And that itself should be an encouragement, because as we become habituated to opposing the mental afflictions, there therefore will be less influence of mental afflictions in our daily lives. And that means that we will become happier and happier and happier. And that is proof enough to be able to kind of re-inspire us to apply the antidotes to the mental afflictions.
말아도 다들 녹타지 말아도 뭐 맞도요 몽바지 가리 열었으나 몽바지 가리 열었으나 네 제가 출로도 받아 요같이 네 뭐네 녀게데 나로들 요도 뭐 맞도 왔잖아 디강에 시대기도 와.
So a great deal of the difficulties we have when we encounter trouble or difficulty is that we proceed on the basis of a kind of a confused focus, or a confused sourcing of that trouble or of that difficulty. We always kind of project externally that the trouble is coming from outside, whereas in fact if we look at it, we can see that it's the reason I am feeling disturbed is because of an internal issue. I have allowed that trouble, that disturbance to arise in my own mind.
그래서 네 뭐만 줘봤잖아. 아니 네 뭐만 줘. 네 그거 다운데 아니 안디 제수 줘셔와.
And so that means that we haven't really recognized what is really going on. Therefore, we are operating under the process of deception, of self-deception. And of course, from that basis, then things are only going to get worse.
어쨌든 미 지소 중에 전에다 역사 거두네 유여버려. 역사의 체드 가르쳐 주고 열었으나 역사 무엇인지는 너니. 역사 문제지 랑전전다 다지 머리 받지고 이거한테 뭐 맞죠 맞죠? 역사도 출로 주반의 연구도 딜레전자 감도 잘 주도 역사도 자체 줘버려다.
And we can see the consequences of that sort of deception, and that's when a person or a group is kind of like constantly mistaking the source of trouble, and that they always see it as arising externally from outside. That is only going to increase that troublesome situation, that they are mistaken, confused, deceived by not being able to recognize that the source of the issue is from within, it's from their own internal mindset. And that that mistake, that lack of recognition, that deception only feeds the external trouble.
다 소소 너바지 아산다 아니 너바지 다소로 차대로 아니 들라 카페 짜도 가제 카페 짜베 속에 아니 다 디딘 지즈 멜라시기 말아 토바가스라 다 토바가라 아니 마가게 망치네 아니 거기 오 카페 짜다는데 디사 말했어 실라 카페 짜가지고 아니 내가 망도 두고도 나 카페 짜다 디미사 카페 짜다 셔바지 요사랬어 아니 거기 샘듀다고 제원도 아니 다 디차버다 다자만 매버 차버다.
We can see actually this situation play out in the life story of Jetson Milarepa, who having had so many difficulties as a child following the death of his father, where he then was mistreated by his uncle and aunt, and then started to oppose what he considered his enemies, the external enemies, through various spells and so on, and saw that not only was that not eradicating his enemies, but was creating more enemies. And so he had this kind of moment, watershed moment, where he realized, actually, this is not the way to do it. This is not the process. These external enemies, by opposing them, will only increase. I've got to work at another means. And he, of course, knew it was an internal issue of working on the internal enemies of his own mental afflictions. And by his conscientious dedication to that process, eradicated all enemies, internal and external.
어디라 맞다 되게 가서데 조주나라 소리들에 아니 치료를 참아 수고도스는 고아요나 저번에 고아 용조가 당도 말해 딜레 수수 강배틸 고아야 보시자오나 산된 탐데 고아요다 총가 연구를 해서 랑게 요모들 갑자기 야고 짜와이나 치료 당가 쇼바데 고아 연구 말해 소리 들어왔다 되게.
And again, as Master Shantideva has said in the Bodhisattva's way of life, that to the process of traveling on a landscape that is completely covered in thorns. So you have the process of covering the whole of the earth with leather in order to avoid injury, or you can actually put on a good pair of shoes, and that will fulfill the same purpose. So he's saying that you can either oppose external enemies of covering the whole earth, and that is an impossible scenario. But if you put on protection for your own mind, like a pair of shoes, that means opposing and pacifying your mental afflictions, and then all external enemies, symbolized by the thorns, will be eradicated.
간제 된자 거기 최쭉쭉 쓰는데 랑전제다 다지 말이 번이라 갑자기 자해도 와 뭐유 근데 주 심해도네 아니 갑자기 자해도 와 갑자기 자해도 와다 어디래 갑자기 자해도 와다 대바 인자 리마 인자 아니 지금 랑게 로 마슈 맞제 아니 저 당부 최도 마슈 맞제 아니 최중간 신고도 와 디심바이나 아니 냐 투사 말에서 매되겠지 아니 강투도 제외 되겠지. 소소로라 밥에 제외 되겠지. 어디 강투도 그냥 내 제주. 유예 되겠지. 차지기도 하고 되는데.
And so it's really recognizing the kind of true reality of one's situation, that when we talk about practicing the Dharma, accomplishing Dharma, it really is about opposing self-cherishing attitude and a self-grasping attitude. And that here it's understanding what is Dharma practice, and then doing one's best to integrate what one knows into one's life, and to really ascertain that clearly, okay, to know one's shortcomings, to be aware of what one's strengths are, but to always endeavor to do one's best. And this is the purpose of really overcoming this sense of discouragement or self-contempt.
어디서다 지금 톱자를 길루가 가봐서다 저 되게 좋아이나 두마도가 그게 요 말에서다 톱자를 길루가 가봐 대도베 탑라 슈바 가봐서 가도 뭐다 다담부들아 저거 샤다 보아라 소바데다 게 저베 톱자라 디용거리스다 나 밀리게들 가지고 왔다 게면서 된 랑도라 제베 로이 투유베서 로이 니바 요레 지지 미토냠도 냠데는 셈싱 되었지 다 니바데 토베 탑 슈바 가바네사 다탑 슈바데가 다데 요바이네 다게 툭툭고 말했어 다디 탑에 탑 슈바 가바네 산제 투발라 아니 지간라 소바다 가제 지그 소바 땅고베 다가제 지그 땅고베 다 집에 파지 냠레 타치바치에다 다그 다디게다 다 딜라 소베 다가제 냠레 다지 가소다 타야바지 지고 요자 등에 제투고 말했어 땅고베 된다와 다지 민소서 냠라 다 류동화데 당분에 지구에서 미동라다 류동화서 냠는 고추마다 당분에 류땅에 계자 말했어 계자 말이 다 로곰곰곰곰네 아니 간장선에 다 간제 지금 랑게 지금 가서데 지금 서만 밀어 집어 당원데 진짜 가세매와 차고요 요래 아니 디디 아니 맨도 당분에 당고에 내주게 말했어 소서 가서 당분에 가서 다 지금 땅 마뉴와다 땅에 리발라 말레 봐도 땅고에 그래요. 말해서 집에서 미동교. 소발라 소바 때와다 차와 신도 라베세는 또 땅에 뭐도 땅에 그 말했을 때 그라 세주 차고 말했어. 어디서 뭐라 하는 그렇죠.
And so the second subsection deals with then the putting a stop to discouragement in relation to the means of attaining that goal. So this is really the kind of practices that one is asked to engage in on the path, and that and here the objection is that when it comes to the attainment of enlightenment, I will have to give away my hands, my feet, etc., parts of the body, and that there's no way I'll be able to do that. And the answer is, look at when it comes to giving away one's body, and saying that if when one is fearful of doing that at the outset, that is certainly not the time to do this practice. That you must become familiar with. This is in the context of the perfection of generosity, with the practice of generosity, giving and giving and giving and giving. And so that when it comes to the time that you can actually part with parts of your body as easily as you would with a bunch of vegetables, then it's the time to be able to do that. But until then, you are not allowed to actually engage in this kind of generosity. So there's no need to be discouraged on this account. It will only it's only to be done when one is capable of doing it.
지금 가서도 동에 서버배 용거래 그런 거 류다 되게 동에 서버배 용거대 얘네야 류 동에게 잠말려고도 땅을 무여 말이야. 가서 들 랑게 최지발라 개기 무여 와. 개기 용거 최지발 류된도 고고 입어서 이 바제 제주고 여러 와. 답변은 장서 사당보를 내봐이나. 장주 서버 사당보를 내봐이나. 아니 류 땅은 최지발 퇴결 두고 여러분 최지발 개를 두고 요 말이야. 가서 이거랑 좀 이게 나시가 루트트 아니 대답 줘도 다들 라바 집어이나 라바 대답 줘도 라바 주고 버려. 그거 가는 게 또. 봐? 라바 집어이나 라바 대답 줘도 라바 줘. 미 집어이나 미 대답 줘도 미 줘. 그리고 이게 나시가 루트가 있어. 가서 그거요 맞대. 내라 버려도 와. 이래 다다 것도 땅 봐도 가서나 다른 것도 내절래야 말이야. 통계 잡고 요거로 봐. 좋아. 이래 다 또에서 봐 빼네. 또에서 봐 빼네. 다 류로 저 가지고
And so, of course, it makes absolute sense as well that one does not give away one's body at this stage, because that would be a kind of a suicide and obviously an obstacle to your further engagement in spiritual practice. So it goes without saying that it's only at a specific time when one is capable of doing that, so that it does not create an obstacle to spiritual practice, but rather enhances it. And that specific time starts with the first ground, once one becomes a bodhisattva. So the first bodhisattva ground, at which point you have a body in the nature of mind, and so that a mental kind of body. And so when one is required to part with that body, and that one can do that, one can give one's body in an act of generosity, and then through the power of the truth, that body is restored automatically again, so that there is no break in one's spiritual practice. So it's very important to see that now we don't have the complete conditions to be able to do that, so don't even think about it. One can aspire to, of course, when one attains that first ground of a bodhisattva, and do one's very best to attain that state in the capacity that we have now.
산제 공부하는 채도 아니 집에 파진 잡면 다 집에 줘야 채도 다 가자 뭐 몰라 되게 배다 뭐야 붙지 어떤 게 좀 이거 봐 아니 남지나 그 뒤줄려 뭐 집에 아니 그거 제토 좀 그러 봐
And so, yes, therefore, how should we proceed now? It means that we do our very best to engage in activities of generosity that we can do to constantly overcome our attachment to the things that we have, to overcome any obstacles that might stand in the way of our generosity, to also make aspirational prayers that we will be able to give more often, more consistently, and more again and again and again in the future, to give our very roots of virtue and so on, to dedicate to benefit others. So in our dedications is also to be able to do that, and to constantly correct and to really establish our motivation, no matter how little that we are giving, to make sure that we accompany that act of generosity with the bodhicitta motivation, to be able to I'm doing this in order to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, and may be able to give to all sentient beings. And so to really expand the potential of each small act of generosity. And so that to kind of integrate that motivation to not just in terms of it being the perfection of generosity, but integrate it to all the other perfections as well, to make the most of that single act of virtue. And so with whatever virtue it is, whether it's a virtue related to the perfection of ethical conduct or generosity or patience, that we are doing so, engaging in that with the most comprehensive understanding of the six perfections that we can muster at that time. And so therefore, with that in mind, we need not be discouraged in any way by not being able to engage in certain practices to achieve the goal, but that to understand that one through habituation is going to increase the capacity of mind to be able to give more and more and more. And this is the way it is, and this is the way we practice in order to constantly increase the capacity that we have for virtue, the capacity that we have to give more and more and more. So there is no reason to be discouraged on this account.
And there's a coin to make a time of was. But this get to some others, get to some others. That must substitute. Yamna, Janju is same just a Tiba Pampas. That Janju is same single Tiba, that Tiba Pancha Jumara, that to Hess and the Tiba attend your Yorba. The Tiba attend your Yorba, running outside the Tiba in it, Sadu Tiba Saba Maki, but then Janju is same Kubala Hamajomas. Janju is same Tiba Pampas. The Baba is that to make you go back. Janju sent the Tiba Payeta. And then Dagan Shinga career, and it's Sujim so on you. Lunga Yisum Tomo Gurua. Tilatena, called Tungema Butcher, Sujim Maso, you want to be your wife. Near to Melas Mamut, to make a got Sujim Maso attending, and Sujim so good. And there is a Dumayo Gumaras Bichola, Sujim so, and the conduct and so much of a chat. Jendo, because it's so pageant to get Yamle the chair on you. Don't go to the car sabarwa. Then the call and never the can get your medicine. To get me joy, Lucent David, Dewakiavansa, call Deja, that joy you must do the medicine, you go to that kind of medicine. That was to make your cousin bigger to go to the muscle. 집에서 저소 파제도 남래 맞제 자주가 쌤 마고 닝제 마고는 애들 동네 되게 요되게 요로 되게도 검사도 코알 때문에 동네 그 요 말했으면 저거 말했은 거야 다 들어와 그래서 먼저 동네 뉴딜라 삼로처럼 마다래 아니 코알 때에 강에 시작 된 거야 봐 다들 넣어 봐 코알 때에 동네 용어들 동네 규사바다 용어를 규마사는 용어 말어 봐 동네.
And so the third subheading refers to the kind of discouragement that one can feel by considering the tremendous length of time that one has to practice, as it said in the text, 3 countless great eons, in order to attain attain Buddhahood. And that in this sense then they're saying, oh, to be abiding in cyclic existence for that length of time is too much for me. The idea of having to experience that much suffering is too much for me. And so here it's saying that I have to take countless lifetimes in cyclic existence, and that in that time, whilst wandering in cyclic existence, I will be harmed by countless sufferings, and so I'm unable to bear that. That's too much for me. But the answer is that from the point of view of the bodhisattva who has generated the mind of enlightenment, they have abandoned the negativity, and therefore they do not experience suffering. And so here, from their point of view, their bliss of mind and body will just increase. So they have they are kind of no reason to become disheartened. And so it's really kind of saying, it's putting it up to us that if we have such a small-minded attitude, that we will be disheartened by the suffering that we will have to experience. It's, yes, if you are still in that ordinary state of mind where you haven't bothered to engage in the perfection of ethics, etc. Because if one has really properly integrated the ethical attitude in one's life, one is restraining acts of body, speech and mind. And if one is restraining acts of body, speech and mind, one is not accumulating negativity. That means one will not only not be reborn in the lower realms, but also not have to experience suffering results. And so from the point of view of the bodhisattvas, they have closed the door to suffering in that way. They're not accumulating negativity, so they don't engage in have any problems with being born again and again in cyclic existence, even though cyclic existence is in the nature of suffering. And they have not created and are not creating causes for suffering, so they don't have to experience suffering even though they're in cyclic existence. We, on the other hand, who don't engage in good ethical conduct, who don't engage in the practice of the 6 perfections, who don't oppose the self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude, are inundated with suffering and problems in cyclic existence. So it's really saying the difference here is the difference in practice and not practicing.
아니 다음에 저거 샘쟁이 되었네. 아니 깨바네 봐도 코알을 내봐 이네. 아니 이 전부 쉬우고 딱 전다 전부 두고요 봐도 전다 전부 두고요 봐도 아니 내봐 원도 아니 서로 좋아지고 봐. 서로 좋아지고.
Also, when one is fully aware of really the powerful purpose for which one is working, that is to really eradicate the suffering of all sentient beings, to achieve the purpose of all sentient beings, that alone is so significant and so important that it should and will really lift one's mind, inspire one's practice.
아니 될라 때는 아니 림부마도 봐 상계를 그 뒤로 쌤 소소 쌤보다 뒤로 되와요 말아 가서 상계네 심적을 되는 거지 아니 저 가서데 코알에 내가 있는 심적을 되는 거지 어느 것도 내가 내가 잡아 봐.
And there, with that attitude, which is backed up by that kind of life, then there isn't a great difference between ourselves and the Buddhas. And the Buddhas work for the benefit of sentient beings. That's the whole purpose of attaining enlightenment. But if we are doing so, even on the path, then we are not doing that which is so different from the Buddhists as well. So that should be more inspiring as well. And indeed, with that attitude backed up by those actions, one will quickly attain the state of enlightenment. And so that the promise of the bodhisattva attitude to go from lifetime to lifetime working for the benefit of sentient beings and to be that dedicated to it will very quickly accumulate the necessary collections of merit and wisdom that will lead to that result of enlightenment.
자주가 쌤 셴다 미터 뉴바스케나 거 내줄로가 되면서 다 소소 동해라 마서 와저니까 어때니 가사데 산제 고말네 테밍가 최차고나 하고 해셔요 말다 하고 해셔요 말다 이내미 랑코알에 깨바네 깨바네 깨바면도 이내 쌤제 셴 동해 나와라 쓰고면도 근데 이마에서 뉴도 산제 고 마도 탐부터서 어때니 거 믹스해지로 와 믹스다 랑 동해 나와라 미스바 쳔네 아니 조고 산제 고마도 되는 배제 직전에 칸에 상계서 가지고도 가서데 다다데 기부팅을 남차වෙ니까 요도와 니가 도와 자와 셈제가 돈다 맞아 소수 동에 나올 미스고 차고도 와 도와지.
And so we want to quickly attain the state of enlightenment, and that very much depends on, like in the language of Tantra, where we have this extraordinary generation of the mind of enlightenment. But if we are in a situation where we find our own suffering unbearable, then it's questionable as to whether we're even fulfilling the individual liberation vehicle goals. And so it's very important for us to understand that, yes, when we talk about suffering, it's the ability to willingly undergo suffering from eon to eon in the service of sentient beings in order to attain enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. That is a willing commitment. And that if one, however, is kind of dominated or can't handle one's own suffering, then one is really only kind of paying lip service to the bodhisattva ideal, and it's questionable as to whether you are living up to even the individual liberation vehicle goals. And so we need this sort of really long-term viewpoint, long-term objective of attaining the state of enlightenment. And this is because we hold sentient beings to be so precious and so important, and we want to attain the state of enlightenment in order to really be of benefit to those who we hold to be so important. Therefore, working at that goal from eon to eon is something I should be able to do. I will be able to do. Yes, I can attitude. It should be very prevalent for us. Yes, that requires an extraordinary level of courage, but by being able to willingly commit to that long-term goal, and by generating that courage, we will be able to very quickly and easily accumulate the two collections that are the causal reasons for attaining enlightenment.
나가지 조조나 유에 뭐라도 잡자 나가지 생내봐도 좋아지 세대 좀 대세단에 조회 동에 세워 쇼스 야네 양도 좀 뭐라 잡
And the
조조나 저 나가지 생내봐도 좋아지 생내 줘봐 나가
for as long as the space endures, for as long as sentient beings endure, may I endure to dispel the suffering of all sentient beings, as quoting the Bodhisattva's way of life as well. So again and again to recite that and reflect on that.
What did it back and the Lelu? What I Casada, Lelu Sum Deta, Casa Chow and Shigalelo, and Casada Daniel Nebelelo, and Kilupelelo, so Lelu Tigeti, and Kishawan Madro, Lelu di Shawan Madro, and Chicaso de top cage. Top cage. What is so good? Or what I did it with the chip.
So it's really isolating these three categories of laziness and really exhorting us not to fall under the control of these lazinesses. And by being able to do that, by being able to avoid these kinds of laziness, we will be able to then generate joyous perseverance. The next category is looking at the accumulation of the pile of conducive conditions to the generation of joyous perseverance. And this has four different powers related to it. The power of aspiration, the power of steadfastness, the power of joy, and the power of relinquishment. So we'll leave it at there. But again, to reiterate the emphasis of today as well, that it's so important to see our actual integration of this information into our practice as being the most important. And so I realize, people have come a long distance here to hear this information, whether from Bendigo, from elsewhere in the city, that shows tremendous commitment. And you see the importance of the word, but more important is to gain the maximum benefit from listening by putting it into practice, by integrating this information into one's life. That's the way we get the most out of it. And so when we talk about, yes, practice the Dharma, integrate this into Dharma practice, it really means pacifying the mind, of controlling the mind. And, the means of doing that is the opposing our self-cherishing, narcissistic attitude and a self-grasping attitude. And that's real Dharma practice. And there's nothing more complicated than that. That if one is really able to reduce the influence of the self-cherishing and the self-grasping attitude in our daily actions, that is actual real Dharma practice. And that but of course, if we're not doing that, then we are also having to face up to the fact that we are under the influence of any one of, or all three of, the lazinesses that were discussed today, and that's why we remain as we are without any transformation of mind.
안다 송아 사야다 다가제 지제도 가리 제반에 야고레다 들에 최전에 야고서 다 최스를 그래 제고레서 야슈도 세들레 도스 소도 최들레도 그래 다가제 세디 아니 저가서 지게 최제게 시험도 디게 전부 제대바이나 그 최고다고 되네 가도도 최고다고 이제 세들을 고아말서 칼라 사야도 디게 최주가 탱결을 배주다면 디 시험도 치바이나 아니 최용도 와디 오늘 치바이나 지게 최제 오늘 치바이나 그 최다 다다게 산제 고마토베 제가 집에 최다 파셔네 녀랑이 최저기면도 와 기부 중요 최저기면도 와 모두 하다 미 고마토베 격제고도 다디 저도 타바토바데 시험과 탐지 개바토바데 시험과 와 단단 말아도 대파셔 뭐이 사가지 거를 받은 거죠 지게 최제의 시우리게 전부 지네 아니 네가 또 내게 전에는 소소 자인스 갑자기 잠대 되기도 와. 갑자기 잠대 되기도 와. 다가라는 거죠. 다가라는 거죠. 최두근 인다면 다 제도도 와. 그래서 거기서 삽사제 개치고 싶지도 와. 가서 뭐좀 찍찍 가마가 제 참마 잠재 간다. 지금 취게 되고 속도 세디 소소 되바 칸 마가지래도 뭐 시키게면도 와. 타바 누구도 탐지 기본 누구도 아니 뭐들 하다 미 고발 토발 누구도 쓰는 것도 같이 자르면 돼. 세디에 소소 때와 또 강마가 지금 되기도. 다가라게 뭐들 지금 이메다 다 쳐주고도.
And so there's the story related to Drom Tompa in walking around the monastery. He observed a disciple engaging in the recitation of texts and prayers, and that he remarked to him, he says, "Oh, that's very good to see you doing the recitation of texts, but it'd be better if you engaged in some Dharma practice." And then shortly afterwards, that person then decided to do some circumambulation of the holy relics and buildings. And again, Drom Tompa saw him and remarked how wonderful to see him doing some circumambulation, but wouldn't it be better if you engaged in some Dharma practice? And then finally, the practitioner started to recite some mantra and thought that this would suffice. And again, Drom Tompa had the same remark, how wonderful to see you doing some recitation of mantra, but how much better it would be if you were engaged in Dharma practice. And the disciple finally said, "Look, okay, what should I be doing? What is real Dharma practice?" And Drom Tompa simply said, "Give up on attachment to this life." Tsarsum, right? Give up on attachment to this life. Give up on attachment to this life. And so he's really pointing out to him like that, and this of course is not necessarily giving up on this life. One needs food and shelter and so on, the necessities. But if we haven't given up on the attachment to this life, it means we are mired in the 8 worldly concerns. And then forget about engaging in Mahayana practice, but this is only, we're doing practice just for ourselves, which means that we're not engaged in spiritual practice at all. And one can forget about attaining liberation and the omniscient state of enlightenment when our practice is that much kind of mixed up with and infected by the 8 worldly concerns. And so really it's saying that one has to adjust one's attitude to see these 8 worldly concerns as the enemy, and to whatever extent we are able to oppose those, meaning opposing mental afflictions related to those, to that extent we are engaging in actual, real spiritual practice. And so it's kind of like to really be very, very careful, and that we are not, as it were, pretending to engage in spiritual practice, or that the practice that we are, or we think we are doing, is not tainted and compromised by our fulfilling some kind of desire for ourselves, and wanting to attain something just for ourselves, an image or whatever. This is all part of the 8 worldly concerns, and will not lead to liberation. It will not lead to the omniscient state of enlightenment. So therefore we have to be very, very careful, and to really turn our focus inward constantly, to see how we are actually doing internally. And so also to really see, one of the symptoms of our really still being caught up in 8 worldly concerns is that we become so easily upset, that our peace of mind can be so easily disturbed. And so when that happens, we have to really be mindful and aware and say, so why am I so frail? Why am I so fickle? Why is my mind so easily disturbed? It's because I'm grasping onto something. And so dobe right. So it's saying distinguishing between that which that, like, yes, what's causing this disturbance in my mind is not in itself something that is directly harming a potential to attain liberation or the omniscient state of enlightenment, but it's what I'm really concerned about here by this disturbance is actually that what's happening is the non-fulfillment of some desire that I have for myself. And that's why I'm disturbed, and that's why it's part of the 8 worldly concerns. So let's leave it there for today. So we'll do the Lam Rim prayer. From my 2 collections, vast as space, that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in loving compassion for all lives Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice.
Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness
from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives upon the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of compassion, not angel true existence, and my Drishri master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hordes of demons without exception. Sankapa, crown jewel of the sages of Lam Rim, Roshan Japa, and Chachi,